Okay, so the base of this rig is a small rig tripod. I have a couple of these. I have one from Small Rig and one from another brand. It looks like they're all made in the same factory and just branded differently based on who you buy it from. I'll put a link for all the products I'm using today in the description so you can see where you can get them. Small Rig tripod's great. It's very strong, it's all metal. So it's very sturdy, but it's very low to the ground. It's designed for tabletops, you can go on other things, but it's got the flexibility in the legs, so you can open and shut them up, and a ball head on the top, but it's not the tallest thing in the world. So to combat that, you can take the top tripod ball head off and put in a extension tube. The extension tube has 3/8 inch thread on the bottom and on the top. You screw that into there, and then you screw the tripod head on top because it has a 3/8 inch threaded hole on the bottom of this. Now you have a taller tripod. It can be extended up and down. So it can go up and down. So that gives you a lot more flexibility with how high your tripod is off the ground. The problem is I want to have a mic bar attached to that. So the next thing on my list is the mic bar, which I have here. Let me grab a ruler. This is about a 19 centimeter mic bar from point to point, from end to end, so slightly shorter where the actual bolts are, and that goes on top of here. But the problem is the threaded nut at the top of the tripod extension plate is long enough to go into a tripod head, but not long enough to have something in between and then the tripod head. So to combat that, I have an extension tube. It's a mixture of male to female to female extensions, and then that goes on here. And then you can purchase a threaded 3/8 inch rod at different lengths, nicely cut with a hex on the top so you can screw it in. But then you screw that into your top, and that gives you some more room to play with. Then you can put in the mic bar, that can just spin on. Okay, that's nice. Then you still have some, so you can put your 3/8 inch thread into the tripod head. I'm just using a ball head here that came with a Small Rig tripod. Let me loosen that so it goes in. There we go, that's nice and tight now. Obviously the Small Rig ball head has two axes for movement. It has a rotational on the base so you can twist it, and then it has the free ball movement at the top end. So take the plate off. They're meant to be Anchor Swiss compatible, the Small Rig tripods, but I have no other Anchor Swiss plates, so I don't know if that's true. I'm going to use my I'm going to use my 60D as a stand-in. I normally use my GH5, but my GH5 is currently filming me, so I'm going to use this as a stand-in. So whenever you see this camera, think it's the GH5 instead. And the plate goes on the bottom here. There's no bits at the bottom to do, so you have to use a coin or a screwdriver or something like that to get it really tight. But that would do for now. Then that goes on the top. So next on my list is the Zoom F3. This is going to be the recorder of choice. I chose this one because it's so compact and it runs off AA, so you don't need to run a power bank to it, which is brilliant. In my experience, I've been using Energizer lithium AA's and they last a good while for just occasional use. Obviously you probably eat through them a lot faster if you were on set filming, but for intermittent use on holiday it's absolutely fine. I take 2 in the thing, 2 in the device and then 4 spares, and that's always got me through a holiday fine. So it takes 2 batteries in the actual body. So I'm going to put another ball head cold shoe on the bottom of this. I have a variety of these. I'm just using an aperture one here. I have a variety of them in my kits. They've come with other things, so these ones came with video lights. So they're good sturdy cold shoe to top. I wouldn't put a light on my camera like that on the cold shoe because the lights are too heavy, but this works great for the Zoom F3. So I'm going to take the cold shoe cover off the camera and then slide this in and then tighten it up there. So it's got a ball head so you can turn it around. So that's where we are at the moment. Obviously the camera's loose because I haven't tightened that up. For the mic holders, I've got, you can barely see me now, let's put that to the side. I've got little plastic spring holders, but they aren't the best. They're cheap Chinese ones. I'll probably get a proper one in the future, but these do the trick for now. And the screw into the 3/8 inch threaded holes at either end of the mic bar. When I got the mic bar initially, it came with a bolt that let you move it in between the end points, so have more flexibility, but I don't use that because I always put them right at the end, so I remove that bolt and just put a 3/8 inch threaded to a 1/4 inch male to make this attachment work. I turn them so they're about 45 degrees from the camera, one on either side. There should be one on either side. I'll tighten them up in a minute. Then it's the microphones. I've got a couple of PLUGGY microphones from Mic Booster. They're DIY microphones, so they're quite cheap. I've got the EM172 variants of them, but they've got the EM272 versions now out, which are supposedly better, but the specs haven't changed. So really, but it looks like they discontinued the EM172 and replaced them with a new model. So the new capsules should be in most things. So they just go in these. One of these issues with this setup is that it's all done on a single point. Oh, I'm going to fix this. 1 second. It's all done on a single thread going all the way up. So always with one point of contact, that creates a pivot point so that when you twist it, you tighten and untighten things. So it's just something to be aware of with this setup. I'm unsure how to fix that because everything only has a single point. You need really 2 points so that you 2 screws in 2 things and then they hold. Okay, that's better. So now let's take that off and put it on here. There we go. And the other microphone. I bought a matched pair, but they're not really matched, but they're close enough. And then to get the cables, to get the signal from the microphone up to the recorder on top, I use a couple of 50 centimetre Yeah, looks about 50cm cables with right angle connectors. They go from the camera, from there round here, and then up to the there we go. And then to finalize it, I have built myself a couple of homemade wind protections. I found a place where they sold proper Rycott wind fabric with the furry kind and the inner lining, and I cut them up and sewed them together to make little wind covers for the microphones. And to make the closing easier in the field, I've put a couple of bits of Velcro on either side, and when they go together they Velcro nicely. Just a little thing to hold the back open shut, which works really quite well. You can see the issue I'm having with the twisting of it. I normally lock it all down to tighten it up, and that holds it. But if you try to hold 2 points of contact, you end up twisting if you press the twisting motion. So that's my setup. I'll get some close-up shots now so you can see all the stages I've discussed. I had 3 rules when building this rig. Rule 1, it had to be compact. A full-size tripod offers a lot more flexibility in terms of the shots you can achieve, but it's very cumbersome. It takes up a lot of space and you always have to carry it around with you when not in use. So I opted for a small tripod that can be broken down. 2, it had to break down into small parts to fit in a travel-size bag. We often fly Ryanair or EasyJet with limited luggage. So the longest item had to be quite short. It had to be shorter than the bag width or bag length. So each part breaks down into individual sections, and then each bit can be slotted into a bag or into a pocket or a coat jacket. So it can really go anywhere. And when it's not in use, it breaks down and fits just neatly in the backpack. So it's almost very discreet. If you didn't know it was a camera bag, you wouldn't notice it. And 3, it had to be all in one. The camera and the sound equipment had to be joined together. While on holiday, the last thing you want to do is keep track of 2 separate items, where the risk of putting something down and then forgetting it increases. So I made it all one unit, so that the sound recording and the audio and the video are combined. This makes it a lot easier to get decent video-audio combinations. Because the audio is coming from either side of where the lens is, it matches up with what's actually being captured on the camera a lot better. And if the audio was captured separately on a different location, and the video is captured in a separate location, and they're combined, then you end up with not getting the same effect. Because the microphones are angled 45 degrees away from the center camera, you get a binaural effect. So when you wear headphones watching the videos, you can hear stuff going from one side of the camera to the other side of the camera, which is what I really like about this rig. This rig's been well tested. It's been tested on 3 or 4 different trips now. If you want to hear samples of how it sounds, I'll put a playlist in the top here and in the description. It's been used in Santorini, in Croatia, and in Wales, and it performed well in all 3 of those locations. I think it works best with soundscapes, so it's not trying to target one individual sound, but to get a wider ambience. So it's very good for field recording, where you're trying to capture the feeling of the location. Particularly with a binaural setup, you feel a lot more like you're there, because you can feel the people walking down the street, and you can hear the waves crashing as they roll past, as waves do. They don't crash in one place, they slowly move from left to right or right to left. So it really works well with that format. I'm going, hopefully, in the next few videos I'm going to do a full review of the Zoom F3. I've had it for quite a while now and I'm very pleased with it, but I'll do a deep dive into all the settings and how it works and how well the battery life is and all of that. If you have any questions you want answered about the Zoom F3, put them in the comments below and I'll try and answer each question. I also have a Mix Pre 3 from Sound Devices, so I'll do a direct comparison the best I can because I don't have that many mics. But I'll do a comparison with this so people can hear that, because it was a decision between the two. But I'll do more on that in the next video or the next few videos. How would I improve the setup? The setup I think works quite well now. There are a few things I'd like to upgrade. The microphones are quite cheap and I might upgrade them to Rycote or Sennheiser one day if I have the budget, but at the moment they're not in my budget range. The camera, I use the GH5 and that still is a strong workhorse. I've had it for probably 5-6 years now, so it's still going strong. I'm still recording on it today. But the new Panasonics or the new Sonys do now outperform it, so eventually I will replace it and get a new one of those. But apart from that, I'm quite happy with the rig. Apart from the loosening issue where if you hold two places and twist it starts to come undone. If you hold a single location, so if you hold it from the camera or from the base, it's fine. But if you hold it from the camera and the base, you end up imparting twists which loosen it. I have thought about using something like a thread locking glue, but because I need it to break down into individual parts, I haven't done that because then it'll be all fixed as one unit. If you have any suggestions on how I can overcome this, but remain able to take it apart and completely and then put it back together completely, please add them to the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope to get back into making these videos of mine. If you have any comments about this or any of the other videos I've got, please let me know and I'll try and answer them.